This place feels old. I mean old.
Even the air feels strange, doesn't it?
In the final level of Alien's Dark Descent, we are introduced to the Xeno City, a vast biomechanical metropolis that was able to grow its own inhabitants, the Ancient Citizens, who are the game's interpretation of the Space Jockey from 1979's Alien. It's a terrifying and seemingly endless landscape, infested by xenomorphs and previously unseen horrors like the Guardians and the enormous Xeno Titans. The Xeno City is located in an expansive underground cavern beneath the Olduvai dig site on Lethe, a moon situated deep into the United American frontier. It was initially discovered during mining operations by the original colonists who would keep the discovery to themselves. However, their secret would only last so long, as they were mining trimonite, the hardest and one of the rarest ores, which would eventually draw the attention of Weyland-Yutani. The company would then annex the moon to begin their own mining in partnership with the United Americas, and in doing so, they would uncover the hidden alien city. The scale here is beyond massive, an entire city buried deep underground in an enormous cavern. It's a mind-boggling landscape that reaches out in all directions with multiple levels that fade off in the distance, only to be obscured by fog. The flooring is composed of what appears to be a mixture of stone and metal supports, and all about them are intricate engravings that could reveal the language of the Ancient Citizens. The towers, the rooms, and other unknown applications appear to have a composition similar to the biomechanical materials used in the construction of the derelict on LV-426. The towers all have a phallic design to them, keeping with the alien's look and life cycle along with H.R. Giger's themes of sexuality, while the rooms are a realization of his egg silo, an unused concept from Alien. Everything is ominously shaded in gray or black, with hints of blue in the lighting, a possible nod to James Cameron and Aliens, and in the mist or field in the ovomorph rooms of both the derelict and here in the city. All that remains of its inhabitants are the 20-foot plus tall skeletons that are found attached to various walls and pillars, still grasping levers like they are continuing, even in death, to perform some mysterious function. To clarify, these are not the remains of engineers. Thibaut Claudel, a writer and narrative designer for Alien's Dark Descent, told AVPGalaxy that the game is his idea of an alternate story of the Space Jockey, and it doesn't have to contradict with the prequels. As for the cause of their death, half of the remains show no skeletal trauma, while others have ribcage damage consistent with Xenomorph chestburster emergence.
Bones had been outward, like he exploded from inside.
According to the ArtStation page for the AD on Alien's Dark Descent, Sergey Kritskiy, the Ancient Citizens are grown from and are part of the city itself. H.R. Giger believed that the Space Jockey on LV-426 was part of the derelict's massive chair. In his mind, it was more than a simple pilot, it was the control center and brain of a living vessel. I do wonder, though, if they are able to detach from their positions and move about the city. Otherwise, why would it, and the derelict ships, need to be so expansive? Which raises another question. If they are able to move around, do they grow legs, use some form of levitation, or would they simply pull themselves along with their arms, like the Xeno Titans that use them as hosts would suggest? The official origin of the Xeno City is unknown, and further study of the environment is likely impossible now, as the Cerebus Protocol was enacted in response to the Xenomorph outbreak, and the moon was bombarded with nuclear weapons. The original colonists spread rumors of monsters in the caverns below the Olduvai dig site, but no descriptions are given to pinpoint what was really down there upon their discovery. Even so, it appears that both the human-sized xenomorphs and the new Titan-class Ancient Citizen-hosted aliens were present by the time of Weyland-Yutani's arrival. The Codex on the Xeno Titan speculates that the larger examples may have adapted to the larger hosts who were breeding them, but it also mentions that the moon may have fallen victim to a rival species. A curious suggestion, as the only known alien species by the company that could rival the Space Jockeys, other than the Xenomorphs, would be the Engineers. I know the Predators are often suggested as a rival, but they do not exist in Alien Universe canon, only in the AVP and Predator universes. The comic crossovers from the Fire and Stone series did some pretty crazy things lore and canon-wise, but I thought that I'd mention that in Prometheus Omega, an android called Eldon, who was mutated by the pathogen and turned into a strange synth-alien hybrid, believes that the Deacon from the end of Prometheus was also changed by the pathogen, which caused it to mutate and grow around the Prometheus ship into a massive living mountain. And perhaps the Xeno City could have a similar beginning. When the company found the Xeno City, they built the Tantalus base at and below the Olduvai dig site, a technological marvel that would house a highly classified facility that would specialize in xenobiology, xenoarchaeology, and xenotechnology. The base's head researcher in charge was Joseph Marlowe, a brilliant man who would soon begin to lose touch with reality when he began to receive psychic messages from the aliens and from Cassandra, a local who had a powerful mental link with the aliens. He would become convinced that the aliens were the next stage in human evolution, so he would form a cult called the Darwin Era, where he and his followers would seize control of Tantalus and gain access to the Xeno City and its aliens. From here, the now compromised Marlowe and his cult would set to work unleashing the creatures in a multi-pronged attack. They sent ovomorphs in containers to Dead Hills, a colony near the dig site, and they would use the Bentonville supply ship, a nod to Walmart's home office and their eventual takeover of Weyland-Yutani from Alien Resurrection, to bring alien specimens to Pioneer Station, a company facility orbiting the moon. Marlowe would also be responsible for the creation of what they call Guardians, cybernetically enhanced followers who had been implanted with chest bursters only to have augmentations that were able to slow down their maturation process. By keeping the chest bursters in a kind of slowed stasis, they were allowed to coexist with the aliens, and were even able to enter their hives. The bursters couldn't be held indefinitely though, and would eventually burst free, killing the Guardian. However, the main focus of Marlowe's research as father of the cult would be his work with Cassandra, who he saw as the key to xenosynthesis, a bridge between the aliens and mankind. Either on accident or perhaps willingly, he would eventually die as a host for a chest burster, yet his work would continue on, led by an army of synths created in his image. One of which would note that there is much to be learned about the ancient citizens by looking to their murals, though unfortunately, the player never encounters any during the mission, a possible reference to the engineer murals on LV-223. They do, however, come across a containment area holding Xeno-Titan ovomorphs, and while moving through the area, another Marlowe synth would tease them, saying to hurry, the eggs are hatching, only to then admit that he's just kidding, saying that they are safe because the eggs weren't made for them. But who made the ovomorphs? The ancient citizens? A queen stage Xeno-Titan? Or some other process like ovomorphing? And just who were they made for? Their size would indicate that they were made for other ancient citizens, the largest of the known aliens. And we only need to look to the history of the engineers, the humans, and even their AI to know that they would likely be weaponized and exploited for scientific advancements. While talking with AVPGalaxy, Thibaut Claudel mentioned that he and some of the other team members were able to visit the H.R. Giger Museum, and while there, they saw a piece of art that he wanted to be used for the city. Unfortunately, we don't know what work of art he's referring to. My guess is either one of the various landscapes, or it was that concept art for the egg silo, which is definitely present in the Xeno City. However, Thibaut also mentions that his artists were huge fans of the old Dark Horse comics, and that he himself didn't read many of them so as not to taint the story that he was working on. But if you look at Dark Horse's Aliens Apocalypse the Destroying Angels, a brilliant story written by Mark Schultz with artwork by Doug Wheatley, the Xeno City shares many similarities to the Space Jockey city found in the comic, all the way down to its building design and even its placement underground. Now, it's not mentioned in the interview, but another possible influence could be the amazing unused concept art of an engineer city done by Khang Le for earlier drafts of Alien Covenant, and even if they never saw it, it's a beautiful representation of a similar idea. I don't believe this was the intention of the writers of the game, but perhaps the city not only made the ancient citizens, but it also made the alien ovomorphs as well. To be clear, the Weyland-Yutani Codex from Dark Descent states that they believe that the alien was an infestation, and that it was brought from the outside into the Xeno City. However, they also state that this is only an assumption. There has always been this curious biomechanical link that seems to flow from the alien, to the derelict, to the space jockey, and even to the engineers. This is because the first three were all designed by H.R. Giger, and the engineer suits are alien in their inspiration and design. But I also believe that to Giger, his creations were all related and were all part of his biomechanical world. with the prototype for the alien and the Space Jockey both coming from his art book, the Necronomicon. There's even evidence of this connection in the egg chamber of the derelict. In his concept art of the inside of the egg silo, he included bulbous birthing structures on the side of its walls that would create the eggs, which would then move along tracks down into the holding area below. As the scripts would evolve, the silo would get cut as its own separate area, along with its bulbous egg-making structures, and its interior would be moved into the derelict. Add to this that Giger saw the pilot as part of the ship, and we get a craft that could create both space jockeys and xenomorphs. So what is your favorite representation of the Xeno City? The Dark Descent example? The one from Dark Horse's Aliens Apocalypse, The Destroying Angels? Or the one for the Engineers by Khang Le? To learn more about the ancient citizens or the alien spawn from them, continue on with one of these videos. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.